I guess I have to start by saying it's easy for me to understand both the initial controversy and later the broad acceptance of this work. An aging and likely mentally troubled Batman was, especially at the time, not canon. In the past some 35-odd years, though, we've had a generation of revisionist superhero stories, and the Dark Knight is a staple of them, not least in nearly a dozen films since then. The future history of an America troubled by a superhero vigilantism, with Superman being something of a sellout to the American government, is contemporaneous with Moore's Watchmen. Those 1980s were a time when we grew tired of clean moral tales, it seems. Graphic superhero novels were catching up with what literature had been doing for some decades. So the question is, does this work still stand out as Time magazine suggests one of the greatest graphic novels of all time? To be sure, the artwork, while at times occluded or bewildering, is still extraordinary. Plenty of iconic poster-worthy moments. The design, too, offers a layered look at the whole social satire, heavy on ironic media coverage and political maneuverings, all examples of denialism that we would come to embrace in real life. Even so, while the historic moment of this work for the Batman canon is significant, the storyline remains weaker. For one, the characters are fairly static from start to end. Villains are universally psychotic. Heroes are pointedly suffering for their causes, and they run into each other to inevitably larger climaxes, with none ever coming to realize anything at all. In other words, once the premises of the story are established, we all, author and reader, can kind of sit back and watch the demolition derby begin. The reemergence of an aging Batman into a world which has fallen to political and capitalist ideologies is interesting, but kind of predetermined. The thing is, Miller has lots of room for storytelling, and adding yet another villain into the mix doesn't explore that space very much. It's true, I've recently completed Watchmen, which has similar moves in more creative and complicated ways. And it's also true that I've seen graphic novelists outside the superhero genre do literally far more with the medium in fewer pages. So Time's grandiose claim must be limited in terms of the Dark Knight's history, not against the broader and more contemporary comparisons out there. It's tough to break a superhero comic out of its tropic rut, and Miller almost did it. Nevertheless, this is a very entertaining read, fulfilling a number of fan wishes along the way for a Robin, for a Superman, for a prodding at mental health science, made all the more so by looking back now at what enormous changes it helped create in the graphic novel industry.